starting these off at number 5, and it hurts me a little bit to rank this one so low because I love the franchise, but just not this system quite as much, and that's the Star Wars PS4 Pro. Now, this was released as part of celebrating Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was bundled with the game, and I'm just not a big fan of how this was handled. It's very, very basic, and at the same time, I think kind of misses the mark too, because look, the main focus here is what's going on the top of the system, which has the Empire and Rebel logos. Great, fine. Little simple, but traditional Star Wars stuff makes sense. The center focus, though, is the Inferno Squad logo, which I get it. It's your Battlefront 2 original characters and, you know, the main focus for that storyline, but at the end of the day, if I want to buy a Star Wars Special Edition system, I want something that celebrates Star Wars, not some specific thing that you made just for this one-off game that doesn't really connect with the rest of the franchise. I just didn't really care for it. The other problem I have with this guy is the fact that on the front side, if you're just gonna have this in normal sideways mode, the only thing it has going on is also one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to special editions. It's just the name Star Wars, right there. As though I didn't know what these symbols were a reference to. It's an okay looking system, it doesn't look bad, it's just the wrong mixture of being a bit too plain and just the energy's directed in the wrong place. Coming in at 4th place for honestly kind of boring and really simple reasons is the all-black standard PS4 Pro. And the reason why is because it's just kind of basic. This is the standard PS4 Pro, and it looks fine. It doesn't look bad by any means. I mean, I'll take it over the Star Wars one because that one just misses the mark, but it's just kind of an all-black system. You know, it's what Sony has done ever since the PS2. Their main lines since then have always been these kind of all-black focused designs, at least in the US, and yeah, it looks fine, it looks good, it looks standard, traditional. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, compared to some of the other ones we got going on here, or other color mixes, you know, for me personally, one of the things that always kind of holds back these kind of designs is the fact that they are just all black entirely. I wish there was just some kind of color trim going on somewhere, which is something I'll get to when we talk about the white one in a bit. But on this guy just having the all black, I mean, it's just plain. At number 3 is the white PS4 Pro, which was released as part of a special edition bundle with Destiny 2. Now, like the black system, one of the main things that holds this one back a little bit in my head is that it's just basic, it's plain, and which is fine, it looks good. I think the white is definitely a benefit over the black though for a couple of reasons. First off, the white just looks cleaner. I think it makes the system in general look a little more trim, and because it's still using black in the mid areas here, it gives you some color contrast, which I think just makes it look a lot better as opposed to the black one, which is just all black everywhere. Now, something that happened before too is that Sony has made a slim version of this in the past, and I liked that one, but one of my big complaints is the fact that the PlayStation logo had this kind of frosted white look to it, which made it not pop at all compared to the white skin. Thankfully, for the Pro version, they changed that, switching to a chrome reflective surface, just like on the regular PS4 Pro, and that makes it pop so much more and look a lot better when you're using it in tower mode. For our 2nd place winner is the Monster Hunter World Special Edition PS4 Pro. Now, as you might guess, this came out as part of Monster Hunter World, and I really like a lot of stuff that's going on in this design. Now, one thing that I've never been a huge fan of that Sony likes to do with a lot of special editions is the mixture of matte and gloss finishes, and I think it works both for and against the system, because when you have this in just the right light, this is a really cool looking special edition where you just have Rathalos with fire coming out of its mouth in this crazy little image. But that's kind of the problem too, is that it needs to be at just the right angle. Since they're both kind of the same shade of black, if you're not looking at this just the right way or don't have it set up in just the right spot, it can be a little confusing what you see going on here. Now, I will say too, I know I've said before over and over again, even earlier in this video, one of my big pet peeves is putting the name of something on the system, which this guy does do by putting it here in the corner, but I'm a little more forgiving when it's off-center like this. It's not the main focus. They're not trying to be like in big words, oh, this is the thing that you spent money on. It's just almost like just a little kind of little postscript to the main image, which is focused right here. So I'm a little more forgiving on this one. Really cool design. I just wish that, I almost think this might have worked better if they'd gone with maybe just like a muddy red design, kind of like the controller that comes with it, and then had Rathalos in just all black to really give this hard, cool looking contrast. But the design is so sweet. Now, one other thing about this one going on the front is that we do have some symbols going on right here, which are the different fleets from Monster Hunter World. It looks solid. I think it gives kind of like a cool little idea and a nice reference for people that know what the game's about. So that way that if you don't like having your system in tower mode, you still have a nice little sign that you have a special edition system. Really cool design. And finally, for our #1 position is the most recent PS4 Pro to come out, the God of War PS4 Pro. Now, if a month ago you told me that I was going to rank this guy at #1, I would have thought you're crazy. Because when I first saw it, I didn't really fully get it yet. But after getting my hands on the system and seeing it in person and playing the game a lot more, I really love the design, which is something that I think really speaks well of how a special edition system can be designed, because I always want to celebrate the game itself and not just be something that's necessarily a very easy pandering mix, which this thing does a great job of, because once you realize that this is the axe and the way it captures the axe's runic designs, it looks really cool with that idea in your head. And something that I think it nails really well that none of the other special editions really do is color choices. You know, one of the problems I had with the Monster Hunter one is that it was black on black mixes that made it really hard to tell what was going on with the design. You couldn't always make out Rathalos really clearly. With this guy though, we've got a darker silver for the matte, a lighter gray for the gloss parts, with these gold accents that break it all up, which is just way more visually pleasing to me. And as far as the front side of it goes, you've got the 8 different runes for all the different realms in the game, which I think makes for a cool little front design that's just a subtle nod to stuff going on in the game. And that's what really appeals to me about this, is just the fact that it really celebrates and does a great job of capturing what's really now become an obsession for God of War with me. It's so well done, it's easily the best of the PS4 Pros.